Srimad bhagavatam. Zira nito siya, kailangan i-fix dito. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Jakare Uderai Lasta Presho Badresho Nicham Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Tamasukir Bhagavate. So continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter, saan tayo? Chapter 58, verse 30. 31. 31, so there is no chance. Meron kayong libro? Phone niya. So go to Canto 10, chapter 58, verse or text 31. Kaya ma-open yung circulation. Entitled Krishna Marries Five Princesses. Raja de Divyas Tanayam Mitravindam Pitrishwasu Prasaya Irtavan Krishna Rajan Rajnam Prapashyatam Rajati Devyastanayam Mitra Vindam Pitreswasu Prasaya Hirtavan Krishna Rajan Rajnam Prapashyatam Rajati Devyastanayam Mitra Vindam Pitreswasu Prasaya Hirtavan Krishna Rajan Rajnam Prapashyatam Raja de Devyastanayam Mitra Vindam Pitreswasu Prasaya Hirtavan Krishna Rajan Rajnam Prapashyatam
Raja Devyastanaya Prasaya Hirtavan Krishna Rajang Rajnam Prapashyatam Raja Devyastanaya Pravinda Pitisvasu Rasaya Hirtavan Krishna Rajan Rajam Prapashyatam
Raja Devyastanaya Mitra Vindam Pitreswasu Sivan Vishnu
Satyayitavam Vishnu
Rajanajnam Prapasyatam
Rajanrajnam Prapasitam
Rajadivyasthanayam Atravindam Kitriswasu Rasayayitavan Vishnu Rajanrajna Prapasyatam Rajadidivya of Queen Rajadidevi Tanayam, the daughter Mitravinda, Mitri of his father, Swasu of the sister, Rasaya forcibly, Shertavan took away, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Rajan, O king or Parikshit, Rajnam, the kings, Prapasyatam, as they watched. Translation only by the disciple. My dear king, Lord Krishna forcibly took away Princess Mitravinda, the daughter of his aunt Rajadevi, before the eyes of the rival kings. So let's read together.
My dear king, Lord Krishna forcibly took away Princess Mitravinda,
The daughter of his aunt Rajadevi, before the eyes of the rival kings. Let's proceed to text 32. 32. So I will just read directly. There is no purport again. O King Nagnajit, the very pious king of Koshala, had a lovely daughter named Saksha or Nagnajiti. So there is no purport again. So let's go to text 33. The kings who came as suitors were not allowed to marry her unless they could subdue 7 sharp horned bulls. These bulls were extremely vicious and uncontrollable, and they could not tolerate even the smell of warriors. Wow. When the Supreme text 34, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of the Vaishnavas, heard of the princess who was to be won by the conqueror of the bulls, he went to the capital of Koshalya with a large army. So 35. The king of Koshala, pleased to see Lord Krishna, worshipped him by rising from his throne and offering him a seat of honor and substantial gifts. Lord Krishna also greeted the king respectfully. So 36. When the king's daughter saw that the most agreeable suitor arrived, she immediately desired to have him. The Lord of Goddess Ram, she prayed, may he become my husband. If I have kept my vows, may the sacred fire bring about the fulfillment of my hope. So text 37. Goddess Lakshmi, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the rulers of the various planets place the dust of his lotus feet on their heads and to protect the codes of religion which he has created. He assumes pastimes, incarnations at various times. How may that Supreme Personality of Godhead become pleased with me? Text 38. King Nagnajit first worshipped the Lord properly and then addressed him. O Narayan, Lord of the universe, you are full in your own spiritual pleasure. Therefore, what can this insignificant person do for you? Text 39. Sukadev Goswami said, O beloved descendant of Kuru, the Supreme Lord was pleased, and after accepting a comfortable seat, he smiled and addressed the king in a voice as deep as the numbling of a cloud. Text 40. The Supreme Lord said, O ruler of men, learned authorities condemn begging for a person in the royal order who is executing his religious duties. Even so, desiring your friendship, I ask you for your daughter, though we offer no gifts in exchange. So, 41. The king said, My Lord, who could be a better husband for my daughter than you, the exclusive abode of all transcendental qualities? On your body, the goddess of fortune herself resides, never leaving you for any reason. So, 42 na tayo. But to ascertain the proper husband for my daughter, O chief of the Sattvatas, we previously set a condition to test the prowess of her suitors. Parang anito ni kayan, si Devaki. Ay, Devaki naman si Draupadi. Si Draupadi.
Contest.
The contest. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti, the king's actual purpose in setting up the test was to obtain Sri Krishna as his son-in-law, since only he could subdue the bulls. Without such a test, it would have been difficult for Nagnajit to refuse the many apparently qualified princes and kings who came to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. So, very short purport. But let's, ang daming continue. So, anyway, magyan natin, Miranda siya, Jananda, Chashurun, Vitamina, Tashmai, Shiro, Namang Vishnu pala na Visaya Buti. Shrimati Girdhari Swami Lutinami Namang Vishnu Padaya Krishna Visaya Buti. Shrimati Bhakti Bhakta Swami Lutinami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini. Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskachari Shatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's go back to verse 31. My dear King, Lord Krishna forcibly took away Princess Mitravinda, the daughter of his aunt Raja Devi, before the eyes of the rival king. So, Hare Krishna. So, from the chapter, Lord Krishna marries 5 princesses. So, natapos na tayo sa first princess. Pangalan niya ay si letter K. Kalindi. So, she is the first princess or wife ni Lord Krishna. So, in the beginning, when Krishna and Arjuna went to the forest, ano nangyari? So, nakita niya doon nila si Kalindi. Prabhu Junha, huwag mo kalimutan to. Si Sudama, Kalindi. So, sinabi ni Krishna, napuntahan mo nga siya. So, kinausap na. So, Kalindi was staying in the forest to perform an austerity para lang maging husband niya si Lord Vishnu. Diba? And, nangyari ba? Sabi niya, mayroon akong bahay na dito. Binild ng tatay ko. So, hindi ako tatanggap na kahit sinong husband na lalaki. Si Lord Vishnu lang. Siya lang talaga ko, wala ng iba. So, yun yung ano niya. So, next, Lord Krishna was very pleased of Kalindi's austerity. Kaya nga dinala na niya at nagiging asawa na ni Kalindi ni Lord Krishna. So next, dito na tayo sa pangalawa. So ang pangalawa nito ay si Mother, si Mitravinda. So Mitravinda. So yes. So kaso lang merong contest sa bayan ng Swayambara na si Draupadi, na maraming mga all of the kings the time, lahat ng mga kings, mga powerful kings, very powerful kings. So paano yung
archery.
Sa archery. So yun. So walang nakaano noon, kahit mga powerful kings sila, ang nangyari, ang nakakuha at ang nag-win sa hand ni Draupadi ay si Arjuna. So, of course, dito na naman tayo, balik tayo sa story ni Mitravinda. Sabi niya dito, the kings who came as suitors were not allowed to marry to marry her unless na they could subdue 7 sharp horn bulls. Ano yung bulls? Ano yung bulls? Sharp. Oh, ha? Bakang lalaki. Diba? So, cow yun, mother cow. So, yung bulls, yun yung bakang lalaki. So, these bulls, narito, were extremely vicious and uncontrollable, and they could not tolerate even the smell of warriors. So, vicious. Diba ang baka natin doon sa Goshala, hindi kasi sila nasanay ng mga tao. Sunog-ganun, tapos naninipa pa. So, isipin mo, naninipa. So, this is yung minention dito, mga bulls, naninipa. Very arrogancy. So, arrogancy. So, maraming natatakot. So, kaya ito yung, so the king of Koshala pleased to see Lord Krishna. So, ngayon, when the king's daughter saw that the most agreeable suitor dumating na si Krishna. So, nakita niya si Krishna, wala na, naman, pag may makakita na kay Krishna, napaka-handsome, napaka-pogi. So, sino bang yung babae na ayaw magiging husband si Krishna? Diba? So, even when Mitra Vinda saw Lord Krishna, Goddess Lakshmi, Mitra Vinda, sinabi niya kaagad na gusto niya magiging husband si Lord Krishna. So, of course, bakit ganun ang inorganize ni King Koshala? Kasi alam nila, kasi nag-pray na si Mitra Vinda, gusto niya si Krishna, diba? So, wala namang ibang makagawa nun sa, yung 7 bulls horn. 7 bulls, lalo na vicious and arrogant yung, yung bulls na yun. Only Krishna can do that. So, dito na tayong sabi na dito, the 7 wild bulls are impossible to tame. Sa atin nga sa Goshala, mayroong doon na very, imposible. Hindi natin siya matatahan. Kahit ginaganon pa ng so how much more ito napaka-arrogante and very wild. So they have defeated many princes, breaking their limbs. So sinabi dito sa 44, if you can subdue them, you will certainly be appropriate bridegroom for my daughter, O Lord Shri Krishna. So of course, upon hearing these terms, Lord tightened his clothing. Narinig niya, expanded himself into 7 forms and easily subdued the bulls. Yan ang nangyari. So Lord Sari tied up the bulls whose pride and strength were now broken and pulled them with ropes just as the child playfully pulls wooden toy balls. Para lang laruan lang ni Lord Krishna yun, no? As you can see, wala naman talagang imposible kapag si Krishna na. Diba? Pag si Krishna na yung kikilos. Then King Nagnajit, pleased and astonished, presented his daughter to Lord Krishna. Nakita na ni King Nagnajit. Binigay na niya. So, he presented his daughter to Lord Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead accepted the suitable bride in the proper Vedic fashion. The king's wives felt the greatest ecstasy upon attaining Lord Krishna as the dear husband of the royal princess, and a mood of great festivity arose. So, diba, dalawa na naging wife niya. Una si Kalindi, tapos si Mitra Vinda. So, for this, happy sila. Conch shells, horns, and drums resounded, along with vocal and instrumental music, and the sounds of brahmanas, invoking blessings. The joyful men and women adorned themselves with fine clothing and garlands. Yeah. As the dowry, powerful King Nagnajit gave 10,000 cows, 3,000 young maidservants, wearing golden ornaments on their necks and bedecked in fine clothing, 9,000 elephants and 100 times as many chariots as elephants, 100 times as many horses as chariots, and 100 times as many manservants as horses. So may mga dowry, dami-dami yung dowry na binibigay. So, makikita mo rin yung na yun, yung in the material world, isa nga hindi nga walang maibibigay. So, can you imagine how rich, of course, we know that everything belongs to Krishna. So, Kahit ilang asawa pa Krishna, 16,108 wives. At iba-iba ang palasyo nila. Kada wife, diba? So, ganun yun. So, the Satyayani Vrat will end on December 5. For those who desire, Krishna to become their husband. So, sino yung magiging husband nila? Sorry, paano ba sabihin? Kasi ito yung Satyayani Vrat. Yun yung mga, if you want Krishna to be your husband, so you have to perform an austerity. Kasi hindi naman sa material world, hindi ba? Nakalagay lang dun sa ano. So yun, when the king of Koshala, his heart melting with affection, had the bride and groom seated on their chariot, and then he sent them on their way surrounded by a great army. When the intolerant kings who had been rival suitors heard what had happened, they tried to stop Lord Krishna on the road as he took his bride home. But just as the bulls had broken the king's strength before, the Yadu warriors broke it now. So, in-stop nila habang nag-travel sila, dinala nila yung wife ni Krishna. Yung mga intolerant kings, in-stop niya si Lord on the road. But of course, ang ginawa ni Krishna, para din paano niya ginawa ng sabol, king's strength before, and the Yadu warriors broke it down. And then they failed. Arjuna, wielder of the Gandiva bow, was always eager to please his friend Krishna, and thus he drove back those opponents who were shooting torrents of arrows at the Lord. He did this just as a lion drives away insignificant animals. Lord Devaki Sutta, the chief of the Yadus, then took his dowry and Satya to Dwarka and continued to live there happily. So, umabot na ng yung una na dito sa Mitra Vinda, pinaksan na sila ba? So, next naman sa Satya. Oo, Satya. So, si Satya na naman. Bhadra was a princess of the Kaikeya kingdom and the daughter of Lord Krishna's paternal aunt Shrutakirti. The Lord married Bhadra when her brothers headed by Santardana offered her to him. So, kasi wala siya masyadong purport eh. Walang purport, dire-diretso na lang. Para maintindihan na so we can understand the story. So, Satya. So, una, si Kalindi, si Mitravinda, si Satya, si Bhadra, tapos ito niyan. Bhadra was a princess of the Kaikeya kingdom and the daughter of Lord Krishna's paternal aunt, Shrutakirti. The Lord married Bhadra when her brothers headed by Santardan offered her to him. Then the Lord married Lakshmana, the daughter of king of Madra. Krishna appeared alone at her Swayamvara ceremony and took her away just as Garuda once stood the demigod's nectar. Lord Krishna also acquired thousands of other wives equal to this when he killed Bomasura and freed the beautiful maidens the demon was holding captive. So maraming mga maraming naging asawa si Krishna. Acquired thousands of other wives equal to this when he killed Bomasura. Marami pa na si Bomasura, maraming kinulong. Freed the beautiful maidens the demon was holding captive. So, ito na yun ha, the chapter, Krishna marries 5 princesses. Tanungin natin yung kung nakinig tayo. Prabhu Jun, can you name yung 5 princesses? Sino yun? So, Kalindi, Mitravinda, Satya, Bhadra, si Lakshmana. Ayan. Okay, punta tayo kay Sudama. Oh, sino-sino yung wife ni ano?
Si Kalindi, Mitravinda, Satya, Bhadra, and Lakshmana.
Okay, very good. Prabhu Eka.
Mother,
Kaulado nyo na, ha? And paano naging asawa ni Krishna yung 5 princesses. So may mga, yung una mabilis lang kasi kalindi, kasi nag-perform siya ng austerity. So yung mga sunod naman si Mitravinda, so may mga kote swayambara. So ganun po yung ano ng story. And thus ends of chapter. The purport of the humble servants of the divine grace is si Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 10th canto, 58th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Krishna Marries 5 Princesses. At least may natutunan tayo. $16,107 for marriage. Each of the 16,100 brides in a different temple. He took up the required activities of the household life just like an ordinary person, accepting various kinds of service from each of his many wives. 16,108. Okay. So, naintindihan na natin, no? So, yun, hindi pwede na yung, hindi natin pwedeng gawin dito kung ano ni Lord Krishna. Asawa. Isa pa nga, mahirap na. Di ba, pag-break ka? Okay. So, what we can do, kaya, I remember, ayun na lang, parang mag-Tagalog na ako. So, yung isa na tinatanong, in Vrindavan as well, there are so many